Good evening and welcome to the High School Sports Caravan. Ray Halbrook with Livestream STL here. Thanks so much for being with us. And we're doing a remote show tonight. We are all in our homes and we have some special guests tonight. But I'm going to remote in here from all the way down in the wonderful world of Southeast Missouri. I've got Jeff Whitener. I've got Jim Powers. Gentlemen, Jim, and I probably should have just did this instead first, but Jim, my friend, it's been a little while, but we've got the High School Sports Caravan back up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously during the summer, some things happened and, we want to thank our great friends at River's Edge for
Yeah.
everything that they did for us for a couple shows. But, they've moved on. They're doing some other great stuff. And so it gave us some time to kind of retool some stuff and to figure out exactly how we wanted to go about everything. And now that we've got it going and we know what we want to do and how we want to do it, we're going to be doing this basically on a pretty consistent basis. We're going to go all the way through the playoffs. We've got a lot of great things going on, especially with volleyball this week. We got the football playoffs going on. So, it's an exciting time. And it's an exciting time for the kids. And we're going to talk to the great ladies that have made their mark. And they're going to be heading down here to Cape Girardeau for the state volleyball championships here in a few minutes. But it's great that we're to this point with not a lot of interruptions. And that's been the great thing this year. Maybe a few games here or there lost, but overall, the bottom line is we were able to get everything in. And the great thing is here tomorrow at Cape Girardeau, and we've seen it at some of the other state championships. I mean, softball last week, it was packed down at Killian.
Yeah.
Despite the weather, despite the cold weathers, it was absolutely an unbelievable crowd for the softball championships down at Killian. And they're expecting some huge, huge crowds here at Cape Girardeau in the Show Me Center this weekend. And then out of Columbia for the state cross country championships at just an unbelievable new facility that Mizzou built just for cross country. And in fact, they had the Hssc championships there last weekend. So, our state high school cross country runners are going to get a chance to run on basically what big time colleges are running on. And they're going to have a big crowd out there on Saturday. So it's a great time for these kids. And that's what it's all about. And then, we got football going on. We got the soccer championships. Ray, what about that game me and you saw last night over at Bishop DeBerg? How absolutely insane was that?
Yeah, you almost wrote the whole game off in the last minute. You're like, well, this game's over with, and all of a sudden, DeBerg with 6 seconds to go floats one in over the goalie and ties the game up, and then 5 minutes later into overtime, they're able to come away with the win. It was probably one of the most exciting live soccer games that I've been to.
You see it. I've got a chance to see two great soccer games. I saw Maryville's men beat number one in the country on Sunday, on a goal with 4 minutes left, and then got a chance to see that last night. So, but that's what it's all about. I mean, it's watching these kids compete and do what they love to do. And, we saw it last night over at DeBerg in just a whale of a ball game. And we'll talk more about that later on in the show because Livestream STL will be there for the district final between DeBerg and St. Pius tomorrow night. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But why don't we bring our other cohort in crime in, Jeff Whitener, because he's going to help me and you with our first set of guests before we get into football talk and just being silly and all that kind of stuff. Hello, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jim. Things down in Cape Girardeau.
Everything's good down here, my man. It's I was over at the arena for a while today, and they're getting everything set up and ready to go. Start at 10 o'clock tomorrow with the Class 4 semifinals, and then Class 5 will play their semis, and then Class 3 will get their semis out of the way, and then we'll welcome Jefferson and the rest of the groups down there for Friday morning.
It's a beautiful venue down there in Cape for folks who've never been there before, and if they get a chance to go down and watch the volleyball this week, they're going to see some great, exciting matches. And I'll let you go ahead and introduce a team that I know very well and I had a chance to watch quite a bit this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And now joining us, I believe they are at Jefferson R7. They've taken over one of the classrooms there at school. It's head coach Tara Fish and some members of the state Final Four volleyball team that's coming down the Cape to compete for a state championship from Jefferson R7. And, first off, Tara, congratulations. What a great, great job for you guys. But first off, why don't you introduce who you have here with us? And we'll talk to you first, and we'll kind of get the girls' thoughts on everything.
Okay, so this is Ava Roth sitting next to me. And then we have Emma Breyer, Kirsten Lloyd, and Paige Siebert. So when I was asked to do this interview, I knew that they would jump for joy to come and do this with us. And it's always fun to hear more from kids than from me. So.
And you know what, Tara, I totally believe that, because I think people want to hear more about the kids and less me. So I'm right there with you when it comes to that kind of stuff. So. Coach, let's kind of talk about the season. And you guys have had a terrific year this year. And the one thing that people don't understand is the success of the athletic program down at Jefferson R7. For the folks that may be watching around the state or up in the St. Louis area, to them, Jefferson R7 is still relatively new, but the success that athletics has had over the last bunch of years has just been absolutely unbelievable. Talk a little bit about that, and talk about how the success in one sport is kind of carrying over to a lot of the other sports.
I know like in the last calendar year, we've had three Final Four teams, so that's very exciting. And I think part of it is just that we have such a great supportive community, and everyone gets really involved. And even after they graduate, our alumni come back and support us. So I think that happens with all of our sports. And I think that contributes to the energy that teams feel when they're playing, and it helps us to grow and be better. And we can always find people to help volunteer to make us better.
And that's the great thing too, is having that community support. And down in Jefferson, yeah, you've got Festus, you got Crystal City, but still there's that hometown feel of the small community down there where everybody gets behind everybody. And I know you guys are going to bring a heck of a crowd down here to Cape on Friday for the semifinals and the finals. I'm going to flat out say it. You don't have to, Coach. I'll say it. You guys are going to make it to the championship game. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just rallying the community around the great things that are going on for these outstanding student athletes.
Yeah, it sure is. Even the officials at our Saxony game, he came by and the line judge, and he said, that kid back there in the ball cap, which is Avery Richardson's brother, Colton, you need to bring him to every game. He is cracking me up, and he brings all this energy. And so we're making sure that he does do that, and he brings a carload with him.
That's awesome. We'll talk about these guys that are sitting right next to you, because obviously y'all would not be coming down to Cape Girardeau. You wouldn't have had the season that you had without this leadership of this group that you have sitting right next to you. Talk a little bit about them, and kind of just talk about the season in general, from start to where we're at right now.
So we got kind of a slow start, but that's okay. And because we got a lot of revenge later on. And so you never want to play your very best at the beginning of the season anyway. But these girls, all four of these girls plus more, have really brought it together as a team this year. And we've been focusing in practice on cleaning up some little things and just being our best and doing our best. And so these kids are some of the kids that just do that for us. So Ava is a really strong hitter for us. She's hit her 1,000th dig this year. And she can play back row, she can play offense, whatever we need her to do. She even stepped in the other day when Paige wasn't feeling well and was like, I'll set. And so we're like, okay. And she just has high energy. And then Emma's just a beast in the front row. She gets up there and she can block. And her dad and I were talking, and he goes, "That's what I find exciting when she gets up there and gets those blocks." And I agree. But she swings lights out. And then adding to that, her defense in the back, she can make it from one corner to the other. So there's not a lot that she's not getting to. And her buddy right next to her, Kirsten, same thing. She's lights out at the net too. And she was the setter for us last year, but now she's playing all the way around in defense. And she also is getting from one end to the other. And then at the net is just super strong. And then Paige down there gets to set all of these and gets her 1,000th assist for the season for her career. But this season she's at 1,078. So, she's got a lot of support there. But, it all starts with a good pass, and they have to get her a good pass. And these three are getting her some good passes, plus, some of our other kids as well. We have Maddie Edmond back there passing, Mulaney Lednick, and so we are looking pretty good. I'm really proud of them and the work that they've done.
And what not a lot of people understand too is when you look at the winning streak that you guys are on right now, you guys have only lost one set since you fell to Briarcrest Christian, Tennessee back at the beginning of October. That's just unbelievable, that stretch of games, and only losing one set. I mean, how do you keep everybody engaged when you're playing that well and you're doing all the things that you want to do?
I didn't even know that until you said it. I didn't realize it. Like we just go game by game for game, and we want to go in and play our game. And so I have, some great assistants that's helping me. I have Steve Horn and Amy Schachner, and then my daughter Hyla Fish, and my husband also is scouting for us and doing things. And so they are all giving me all these numbers and looking at all the numbers, so I don't have to really look for it. And I sometimes look back and I'm like, are we on the third set or are we on the second set? Because now with 3 out of 5, it takes so long to get there. But we just all that additional help is awesome. And it's just, I don't know, I couldn't ask for more.
Let's talk about that. You just mentioned this is the second year. Last year was kind of okay. You can play 3 of 5, but once you get to districts, it is 3 of 5. This year was pretty much across the board 3 of 5. Talk a little bit about, as a coach, your feelings about going to the best 3 of 5 format, like the colleges are doing to get the kids ready for that next step to play at the next level.
Well, if I'm not a huge fan of it, just because I feel like it's really tough on their bodies, and most of these kids play a hard, long club season, and okay, we're getting them ready for college, but if they don't get home until 10 o'clock at night, then what are their grades going to look like? And so they have to have good grades to get into college in the first place. And I'm a teacher first, and I tell them all the time that. And I want, we have to focus on education too. And so sometimes it's frustrating that we have to do that. So I guess the last few games, they've taken care of that and just played those 3 instead of more than 3. They need to get their homework done.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk to the girls here for a little bit. Let's start with Ava right next to you. And this will be the same question for everybody. We'll start with Ava and just go down the line. How excited are you guys to be able to represent your conference, your community down here in Cape Girardeau on Friday, in the state semifinal?
I'm so excited, and especially for this being our first time in program history. I feel like we are just having a lot of fun, and I know even going down there to state, we will just make the most of it, and these are going to be memories that will last a lifetime with our best friends. So.
And we'll move right down to the next person.
I'm also very excited because, people have been telling us since our 7th grade year that they expect us to make the state, so that now that that's finally happening, it's just super exciting to see it all come together.
Next up.
I'm also very excited. At the beginning of the season, we kind of made ourselves a little checklist of what we wanted to do and accomplish, and one of the 3 of them was to make it to state, win conference, and win districts, and we've done all 3 of those. So that's just it's like building us up all of our excitement, and we're just really excited to go down and show them what we got.
Paige.
I'm also very excited. I agree with what Ava and Emma said and Kirsten said, but putting Ava's and Emma's together, since 7th grade, we've been playing with each other, so it obviously makes us super close-knit friends, and just to experience this together for the first time in program history is so exciting.
Awesome. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't bring Jeff Whitener in and ask some questions. You guys know Jeff, and
Yeah.
we want to get Jeff. We want to get Jeff in here. Jeff, you know these guys extremely well. Talk a little bit about and ask them a few questions.
Well, I'd be happy to. And before we start, Jim, I'm glad you brought up that run of matches where they've won 3 straight sets, and I'm sure the girls will back me up on this. The fact that they went on that run and have not given up any sets, especially at home, has coincided with something else, and I'm sure Coach Fish can tell you what that is, Jim.
Lovely announcer there playing some music for us and keeping some energy in that gym.
So I'm taking all the credit there, Mr. Powers. So, no, seriously, watching this team this year and seeing what they've been able to do on the court is, to me, has been nothing sort of amazing. As someone who's seen a lot of volleyball and have coach, of course, works at the junior college
as
level.
I figured you would. That was the one thing I thought was
the coach. I want to say, this is an interesting team, and Jim, one of the things we need to talk about is the vast majority of this team is made up of juniors. So the core of this team will be back next year as well. And Coach Fish, I wanted to ask you, you've got a challenge of managing and coaching a team with many individual talents that are kind of standouts in their own right, and bringing them together. They're standouts on their different stars in the summertime or their club teams, et cetera, et cetera. What is the challenge there of being able to pull them all together? And talk a little bit about your play for her mantra and mentality this year.
Well, I knew coming in that we had a really strong group. And so, you can't just play with these 4 players. We have 6 players on the court. We have other kids that can do things for us as well. And so a couple of years ago, when my oldest daughter was a junior, Coach Nagel and I had some shirts done, and we talked about I'd play for her. And so I was thinking about it this summer. I was thinking about it this summer, and I just thought, we have a lot of really great talent, and some of these kids, aren't going to get to play as much as they probably want to, that might have played in another program. And I didn't want a lot of pressure in themselves individually. I didn't want them to do that to themselves. And so I thought, we need to bring that back, and let's just I play for her every time, whether it's in practice, during a game, if you're on the court or off the court, we just need to focus on I play for her. And in fact, I just sent them a message in our group me about an hour ago. I play for her. It was a quote that I sent them. I don't ask me what it was, but I put on the bottom of it, I play for her, because we need to focus on that, not just skills, but I play for her, and make sure that we are not being selfish and that we're doing what's best for the team. So that's
what I've seen personally from this group this season. I've seen a group of unselfish players who are willing to sacrifice perhaps their own personal stats for the good of the team. It's sometimes difficult, as I said, when you've got players that are used to being that go-to person, but you've got so many of them on this team, getting them to realize that the benefits of working together and making that sacrifice. Coach, at what point can you look back on the season and determine a turning point for the team, or you realized what this team was truly capable of this year?
I think when we went down to the Dig for Life tournament, and we played a pretty good Dexter team, and as the game's going on, the score's just getting further away from. We were just starting to pull away, and we were winning, and winning by a pretty good amount. And I remember thinking after the game, man, we have got this. We just have a couple little things we need to move around and do, but we really have this. And I actually was talking to Ava's dad, and he's like, that was a good Dexter team. And I was like, I know. It was so exciting just to watch them. And then we flourished against Hillsborough. We flourished against Seckman, who we had lost to already. And I think that trip was a good starting point for us in our tournament. But I mean, we have a lot of good talent here, but also not just the talent and the skill work, but also these kids are willing to be good teammates, and so we've worked through some things, and we're growing as players and teammates.
Let me pose that same question to Emma Breyer, if I may. Emma, what was there a point in the season where you girls were able to talk to each other and look at each other and say, "Wait a minute, this is for real. We've got a big shot to do a lot of things this year"?
Yes, I think that about 2 months ago, like it kind of just all clicked in our brains that like we need to pull it together, because I'm gonna admit, like there was a point in the season where I think we worked a little towards the selfish side, but after a long talk, we pulled it together and we're here now. So it obviously worked.
I'm going to pose this question to Paige. Paige, obviously, I know, and a lot of folks who followed volleyball this year in the county know the skill set, the talents of the players that we have on the panel here. But talk a little bit about, if you can, about some of the unsung heroes on the team. Maybe the players that really make the team, that don't their contributions maybe show up on the stat sheet every night, but you really would be in a bad way without them.
Like McLean McPeters. Her stats don't show what she does for us. She couldn't hear you. Her stats don't show what she does for us. She slows down so many balls. She gets lots of points for us. That's what she's
I thought.
Yeah.
You're right. That's who I was going to say.
Keep going.
I was going to say,
go ahead.
Absolutely. It's the best bench teammate I think we've ever had here. She cheers no matter if she plays or if she doesn't. She's always supporting us. Lydia Strohmeyer also, even if she's not getting playing time, every time out she's telling us where spots are open, like what places can we hit to get points, or where they think that they're going to hit with us, so we can just cover that.
Sure. I think that's a great example, and that's what I've seen as well from my position on the floor at the scoring table. But Jim, I don't know if you're there or not, but we'll toss it back over to you if you have some more questions for the ladies. I'm seeing some hand signals from Jim. Let me while we're waiting for Jim there, let me ask Tara. What do you know about Herman?
Yeah.
About the Bearcats?
Oh, absolutely. And I get a chance to watch volleyball on the collegiate level, whenever I get a chance.
I'm listening.
I'm not sure if everyone can hear me or not, but Tara, what do you know about the Bearcats?
I know that they're a really good team. I know they've played some tough games and won. That's what I know. I know we're a really good team. I know we've played some tough games and won. So I think it'll be a really good match. I'm looking very forward to showing everybody what we have.
Excellent. Are you back with us, Jim? Ray, are you with us?
I am here, and I think we have a little bit of a delay down there, down in southeast Missouri. So we're going to try to see if Jim can maybe close out and open that chat room back up here in just a second. But as we do that, do you have any final questions that you might want to use there, Jeff?
Well, yeah, I have a question for Kirsten Lloyd. Kirsten, for the folks watching in the R7 community tonight, the fans of the Blue Jays, what message would you like to give them, on the season that you guys have had, and as you go down to Cape?
Definitely one of the biggest parts of our success is having fans in the stands, especially our student section when they come out to big games and are loud, have spirit themes. It brings a lot, and it's a lot to us, so we really appreciate it, and just get down there and support us. We appreciate it.
Excellent. Ava, do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, I would just like to thank everyone that's came and supported us through all of this, and come and watch us. We're really excited, and it would really be appreciated.
All right. Well, we appreciate. We apologize about the technical issues we're having down at Cape with Jim. So, but
I think we got him back
appreciate. Now. Oh, we have Jim back.
Are you back, Jim?
Yes, I'm
back.
Jim is back, but no, I mean,
Jim,
ladies.
Do you have any final questions?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, we've taken up enough of their time. It's been great talking to them. I'm excited to see you guys play live for the first time on Friday. And like I said, you're going to take care of business on Friday, and then we'll talk about a championship on Saturday, and then a big parade or something along those lines. But I just wanted to say good luck to you guys, and thank you so much for being with us. And we do apologize. Like I said, I'm sitting in my room. I was over at the Show Me Center getting stuff ready today with Misha, and the tin can with the fish wire doesn't really extend that far. So we're trying to make it work the best we can. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for taking some time out. Have a safe travel down here tomorrow, and can't wait to see you guys on Friday.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Head coach Tara Finn.
Good luck, ladies.
The ladies from Jefferson R7. We're going to talk about their matchup here in our next segment, along with some of the other volleyball stuff as well. We got football stuff coming up. We're going to get Jeff Whitener in the mix, and me and Jeff may disagree. By the way, what happened to Michigan this week? Can I just ask that real quick?
It was lulling our other opponents into a sense of false security, Jim.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go there. I knew that was going to happen, and that's why I wanted to get the girls out of the way first so the silliness can commence between me, you, and Ray. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, talk a little bit more about volleyball. We'll talk about the soccer districts and what I think is going to be a terrific game tomorrow night over at Bishop DeBerg between Pius and DeBerg in the Class 1 District 1 Championship. And then we're going to get into some football talk. Still a lot to go on here as you are watching the High School Sports Caravan right here on Livestream STL.
Dear Exit Strategy, all your pieces are in place. A tranquil lake, a serene sky, an emerald forest, a secret hideout. Thanks for being there just when I need you most. Always Toyota SUVs.
Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
We hope you're enjoying tonight's presentation. Take advantage of the HD experience here with Livestream STL by going to the TKDS Sports Network app. Download the app and subscribe by going to videos.tkdssports.com. That'll get you access onto our TKDS Sports app, Roku, and Fire Stick. And thanks so much for your support of Livestream STL.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Crodinger with Home by SMCI. Whether it's residential or commercial, we have the right products for you. Global Plasma Solutions will attack your bacteria, mold, viruses, even help dust in your house. They install easily, less than 45 minutes, and it's invaluable for the rest of your life. If you're interested in any of the products that we do offer, give us a call at 636-337-4444 or send us an email at service@homebysmci.com.
Wiley Agencies have locations in Festus and Arnold to serve you. We offer home, vehicle, business, and life insurance, as well as investments and much more. We utilize a custom approach to make sure you, your family, and assets are properly protected. Give us a call today for great rates and savings at 636-764-6294 for the Festus office or 636-333-9903 for the Arnold office. We'll be happy to review your current coverage or just talk sports. You can also email us at SeanWiley@allstate.com.
And welcome back to our second segment here. Sorry, we're having a little problem with the microphone here, but we're We're going to have our second segment. Before we get started with our second segment here, don't forget tomorrow night we will be out at DeBerg High School as they take on the St. Pius X Lancers for the District 1 Class 1. That's their district championship there for soccer. That'll be a 5:45 start. And then Friday night we will be out at Duchesne High School as the Grandview Eagles come to town. That'll be a 6:45 start as well. Again, both of these games are on Misha TV, so you can either go over to Misha TV and subscribe on that. It is a $10 charge for subscribing. Also, if you just want a direct link, check out our live stream STL Facebook page, and we'll have all the links up there as well. And as we roll back here again, boys, and I've got all the gentlemen's here, and we're going to talk a little football. And you know, it's been a fun season, has it not, boys?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a great season.
I mean, you know, the one thing that I have said all year long is the quarterback play has just been absolutely unbelievable this year in the metro area. It's probably one of the best years of quarterbacking that I've seen in my years here in Missouri, and we're going on 19 years in March. So, you know, I've just been thoroughly impressed with, you know, what we've seen quarterback-wise. You know, teams, you know, that are really playing well. Some teams that have come under the radar and are making some big noise. So, you know, this has been a fun year. And once again, I said it in the open, and I'll say it again. You know, we got through it without very, very few adjustments. And of course, Jeff had to change into the Wolverines t-shirt. Just had to do it. So I know.
What do you expect, right?
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Wait till next week.
Just for you, Jim.
I'm going all Ohio State next week, so just be ready. But you know, but the thing is, I just think this has been a fun year. I think the kids have had fun. I think the kids have enjoyed having the fans back in the stands and having their friends there and being able to do, you know, the things that they enjoy to do and to show it off in front of people. And I'm telling you right now, there are some games on Friday night that are just going to be lights out, unbelievable matchups. You know, it's just going to be so much fun. And that's the great thing about right where we're at right now. We're in the second round of the districts. We're in the semifinals. We're going to move into the finals, which I'm going to tell you right now, in Class 3, I think a district championship game next week, if it happens, is going to be the state championship game. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I'm just telling you, I've just had so much fun watching games and seeing the kids and seeing them having fun and enjoying themselves.
Well, you know, I agree 100%, Jim. Coming off last year, what we had were a lot of schools couldn't play partial seasons. Because of that, too, we saw a level of play, a level of football that was not consistent with some of the good years we've seen in the past as far as execution and skill on the field, because there simply wasn't enough time to play and practice. Conversely, this year, we've had plenty of time for those things, and we've seen, as you mentioned, some excellent all-around football. I know I've been involved in 3 games this season that to the final, which down to the final play, and it's just been a wonderful year. But Jim, as we talk about these games come Friday night, where would you like to start, my friend?
Ooh, there's a lot out there. I mean, there really is. And, I mean, you got to probably look at in Class 6, I think SLU High and Marquette. I think that is just going to be a barn burner. I know the trash talking has already started on Twitter between everybody involved in that game. And it's been fun banter. But, you know, I think, you know, once again, we talk about one of those quarterbacks, and Aldridge from Marquette has just had a terrific season. And this is a Marquette team that knocked off Lindbergh and Hazelwood Central to finish up the regular season, you know, on a very, very big note. And I think that game, just jumping off the page right now, may be the second best game in the state. I think the best game in the state is going to be Eureka and Ladue. Two contrasting styles. You got a Ladue team. Mike Tarpey has just done an unbelievable job with this Ladue program. He took it over a few years back. They got to the state championship game. They've tasted that. They want to get back. This is a younger team this year, but boy, have they made noise. And you know the things that they've done has just been really, really good. Their only loss was to Kirkwood, earlier this year. And they're going to get a Eureka team. You know, Ladue loves to chuck it all over the place. Eureka, it's ground and pound. We're going to punch you in the mouth, and we're going to get after you on the offensive line, and we're going to make you earn every yard that you're going to get. So, I mean, those two games just here in St. Louis are just going to be absolutely unbelievable.
Well, I agree with you as far as the St. Louis area, St. Louis County area, and I'm still reeling from my Lindbergh Flyers being shut out by SLU last week after a really good seeding for Lindbergh. But moving down to Jefferson County, we've got a big one too here in Class 4, and a rematch of a game played in October, and that is Festus at Hillsboro. That's going to be a huge matchup, probably the marquee matchup of the week here in Jefferson County, and of a good matching style as well. You have arguably with Cole Rickerman, the best passing quarterback here in Jefferson County, broke the school's single season passing record this year for 1,000-yard passing, and you have his basketball mate, his point guard, coming out to play for the first time ever football at the high school level, Armand Branch, tremendous basketball player, but those two have found the same chemistry on the football field that they did on the basketball field the last couple of years, or the basketball court. And Armand Branch, over 1,000-yard, he also broke the Festus Tigers single season record this year. So you have that offense, Isaac Stuckey, another great receiver for Festus, and you contrast that in styles with that flex bone ground and pound type offense that Hillsboro has with Jackson Peterson and Austin Romaine, who are both two tremendous athletes, and both of the ball. Austin Romaine, especially from his linebacking position for the Hillsboro. So it's going to be a great game. It came down to the final minute. The first time they played, Festus was driving inside the 10-yard line. Austin Romaine popped Coleman. The ball came loose. Hillsboro pounced on it to preserve the victory. And I expect this game to come right down to the wire again, Jim.
Yeah, and once again, that was another game too. I mean, but you mentioned Cole Rickerman. Cole's in that quarterback conversation, about being the best on this side of the state. And I had a chance to watch him a lot last year, had a chance to see him a couple times this year, and my mind hasn't changed. He is still one of the top quarterbacks. He's in that group. He is in that group with Heidert from CBC, with Aldridge from Marquette. That whole bunch. Right. I mean, he is so good at what he does. He's got a big decision to make. Because what a lot of people not in Jefferson County don't know is he is one heck of a basketball player, and he could really go either way. He could play, at a small school, Division II school football wise, or he could play at a Division II team basketball wise. So Cole's got some a decision to make on what he wants to do at the next level. But I'm telling you right now, and I remember when we did the Festus game, one of the Festus games earlier this year. Hal and Ray had asked me what my thoughts were about Cole, and I flat out said, I think he could step in and start in the JLVC. I think he can start in the MIAA right now. I think he is that talented. I think he is that smart of a quarterback. He reads defenses he's a student of the game, and you could see that on the field, the way he checks down, the way he makes his progressions, the way he uses his feet. And you don't see that from a lot of quarterbacks. And once again, that's where I put him in this group this year of the quarterback play that has just been absolutely unbelievable.
Mentioned his IQ on the football field is very high, as it is on the basketball court. And with him and Armand Branch this year, I'm sure Coach Jason Farrell over there, Festus Tiger basketball, is chomping rare and ready to go as soon as he gets these guys done with postseason football.
Oh, no doubt about it. But you look at the games this week. There's some great matchups. I think everybody is looking towards Class 3, District 2. I still say this, and I honestly believe this: St. Mary's, Valley Catholic, that could very well be your state championship game. In the last media poll, they were 1-2, and they're both playing just absolutely unbelievable right now. They've got to get past their games tomorrow. Obviously, on Friday, Herculaneum's going up to St. Mary's. I forget who Valley gets off the top of my head. But
they've
once
got
again,
St. Genevieve next week.
Yeah, and they should take care of St. John. No disrespect, at all. But the way Valley's playing right now and the way St. Mary's is playing right now, I'm telling you, I'm not sure there's anybody over on the opposite side of the bracket, on the right side of the bracket, that could go with those two. And so I made this comment. We were taping my radio stuff for 550 KTRS for tomorrow night. We taped it earlier today. And the comment I made was, you could put that game next week. Now, once again, you got to take care of your business this week. But you can move that game to a Lindenwood. You can move that game, to a big stadium, and you would sell it out in an absolute heartbeat without any reservations whatsoever. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. They're going to play it at St. Mary's. If you're Valley Catholic fans, I will suggest getting there at 3 p.m. and camping out for a couple hours, because that may be the only way you get inside the field, and getting your tickets early. But, the bottom line is, I really like how those two teams are playing right now. St. Mary's, I had a few questions about early in the year. I don't have any more questions about them. They have answered every question that I had about them. What Ken Turner's done, keeping that program going has been terrific. Valley does what Valley does every year. They run the ball. They're big. They're physical. They are fundamentally sound. And I'm going to tell you right now, if there's going to be an edge in this ball game, I give it to Valley just because of the discipline side of things. I think they play a more level-headed type of, they're not as edgy, so to say. And there's nothing wrong with being edgy. Don't get me wrong, but you've got to dial that back a little bit when you get to this portion of the season. And I heard there were some players that, got kicked out of their last regular season games, weren't able to play in the district first round. Guess what? It cost one of those teams a win this past weekend because their star player wasn't able to play because he did something stupid on the field to get ejected. And that's what you got to do. You got to temper it down a little bit and make sure you're doing everything the right way in order to move on, so you don't hurt your teammates in the long run.
Right. That's exactly right, Jim. What happens is you play with that edge, and a lot of players played with that edge, and you use that and channel that emotion for your performance. But what happens now that you're in the postseason, the stakes are higher, that adrenaline is flowing right off, and it's so hard, and that's the challenge for young men and women at this age, to be able to channel that and kind of take 20% off, maybe just a little bit, and play level-headed and disciplined, because that's usually the team that's going to come out on top.
Without a doubt. And being involved in the state championships and, following for as many years as I have now, I've seen it. I've seen probably every scenario that's taken place. I mean, in the semis and, the quarterfinals and all that kind of stuff. And you have to see that, because what you have to do is, you get to this point of the year, you're either in the last 32 in the state, you're like in Class 6, you're in the last 16 in the state. You've made it far. You're playing longer than a lot of other teams are right now. You don't want to throw that away and do something silly and make it very difficult for your teammates and all that stuff. So, but I really think St. Mary's Valley, that may be the Class 3 championship game, but without any doubt about it, it's going to be the best game in the state of Missouri, the best district final in my mind, next week. Here in the state. Jackson's doing what Jackson does. They're going to win their district. I mean, I feel bad for Melville. Melville gets a great victory last week. They got to go down to the pit. And if you have never been down to Jackson and you've never been to a football game in the pit, I will tell you this. Find out when they're playing at home, take a drive down 55, and go watch a game there. And you will understand exactly what I'm saying. It's loud. The crowd on the visiting side is right on top of you, and you can't hear yourself think. And that's the big home field advantage that Jackson has, and that's why they're so successful. But I think everybody's looking at Jackson and Carthage. Carthage on the bottom side of that bracket. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's a team that I really think is good. I think they can give Jackson everything they want. It's Rockwood Summit. The year that Summit has had, Eric Stewart has got that program going. You knew he was going to get it going. This year, I never expected 9-0 this year. I never expected to see a defense that's actually scored more points than they've given up. I mean, they're only averaging defensively giving up 4 points a game. I think their defense at times was averaging 7 points a game because there was a stretch where they scored defensively almost every game. And, Summit's got to take care of their business. They're in probably the toughest district Final Four. They're going to get Lafayette. Then you've got the winner of Eureka and Ladue. I mean, that district right there is probably the toughest district in the state of Missouri, bar none. And then the winner of that's got to go play Jackson down at Jackson. Hello, there you go.
Well, that's it's certainly setting things up for, like you said, a bloodbath, and you have to wonder the teams that that are even make it to the final game in that district. If they win, are they going to have anything left in the tank after that to move on?
They will.
Jim, if we could,
they will.
If we could talk just a little bit about a couple of our county games this weekend. We've got Class 1, District 2, we have St. Pius at Mark Twain. And I don't know a lot about Mark Twain. I know that they've got a really good running back up there, senior Landon Moss. He's all-conference running back up there. I think he's rushed for about 1,300 yards this year. And he was also a all-conference safety on 51 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. Aside from that, I don't know a lot about him. My big and strong front, they've got a guy, Coleman Epperson, Clayton Turner are both plus 300, 6-foot mountains up there. Also Mac Davenport. So I know this is going to be a very physical game for St. Pius. The good for Pius is after lines the last 2 weeks, I spoke with Tilden Watson, the athletic director today for the Lancers, and Nate Rubel is back in the lineup and ready and raring to go this week, and they will need him on both sides of the ball, Jim.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They're absolutely going to need him on both sides of the ball. And Mark Twain is a school. They've been ranked, consistently over the last bunch of years in the top 10 on the media poll. They're once again, fundamentally sound. They don't make very many mistakes. And that's going to be the big key for Pius is, weather the storm, take that initial punch to the face, but then you got to bounce back. You got to be fundamentally sound. You got to do everything you need to do. If Rubel's ready to go and he's going to be 100%, that's going to be the extra, the extra tool in the toolbox, so to say, for Dan Oliver and that crew. So, I think it's going to be a good game. Mark Twain, once again, though, very talented. They do a lot of great things.
Right. I think it's going to be a very physical. I'll go out on a limb and say it's going to be a long game as well. Mark Twain gives it points a game this season. St. Pius 18.6 is nothing to sneeze at either. So I think that's just going to be a slugfest up there in Center, Missouri, where the Mark Twain Tigers are located. But we also have our game of the week, Jim. I want to talk a little bit about. That's Grandview at Deschênes. We certainly saw what Deschênes was capable of last year when they took on the Jefferson Blue Jays and the quarterfinal game. And we knew at the time they were a young team, but they had all kinds of talent. This year, that talent has matured a little bit. They've gotten even better. They're still relatively young, very junior-heavy team. They only got 5 seniors on the Pioneers. But I know they have a decent quarterback, too, in Josh Baker Mays. He's one of the passers in the area. He's thrown for almost 1,300 yards this season. So he's another guy, even down at the Class 2 level, who's had a really good year. And then for Grandview, you look at the job, just a phenomenal job that Dave done there over the past 5 years, and taking a program that actually had to play down JV, didn't have enough guys to play a varsity level and be competitive, and to build that program back up to last year was their first winning year in many years. And now they're going to the second round of the playoffs. Last week they hosted their playoff game, the first time they'd hosted a playoffs game since 1992. And like I said, didn't even play, in 2017, they didn't even have a varsity schedule. So just phenomenal. Do you think that there's anything that can do to counter Shen and make that game competitive this Friday?
Slow it down. I mean, in all seriousness, you can't go tempo against them. You have to run almost every second off the play clock as possible, and you've got to figure out a way to match their physicality up front. I've had a chance to see Deschênes a couple times this year, and they're just really, I mean, their quarterback, he's able to do the things that he's able to do because he's got a terrific offensive line. So you've got to slow the pace down. You don't want the offense to get too many opportunities. If you could do that, and you could slow things to a point to where you're only giving them 1 or 2 possessions a quarter, then you're in really, really, really good shape. But if Deschênes gets out of the gate and Deschênes scores a couple quick ones in the first, it may be Katie bar the doors. It's going to be, it's going to be a long night, because that's the type of team that Deschênes is. And I know the thing with them is they want the rematch with Lutheran St. Charles in the district final next week. I mean, and they've made no bones about it. Those two teams have been state ranked all year long. Lutheran St. Charles took them to the woodshed, earlier this year. And I know that they want the rematch in the district final. But Grandview, what Dave's done is just unbelievable. And when I saw them play last year, I had a chance to go see them play Crystal City. And I was thoroughly impressed with what they've done. And following them last year and this year, just unbelievable the work that they've put in, getting the numbers back up to where they weren't playing a JV schedule and they're playing a varsity schedule and they're being successful. That's just unbelievable. And that's all on Dave. That is all on him in getting that program right back to where it is. And he deserves, I'll tell you what, I'll be very honest. If Jefferson County, he should be the coach of the year in Jefferson County. I know there's some other great coaches. AJ's done a great job. Hillsboro's done a great job. But I'm telling you right now, the job that Dave's done, he absolutely deserves coach of the year in Jefferson County this year, without any doubt.
A legal argument for me there. In addition to his X's and O's, his ability to coach the game, coach practice, it's his charisma that's been able to bring kids back to that program. One thing I do want to touch on, and you mentioned the great offensive line that the Pioneers have. It's going to be a great matchup to watch, because in the trenches, this Grandview Eagle offensive defensive line, they've been playing together now since about the 7th grade. There's a lot of cohesiveness. These kids have had and they may not match Deschênes as far as size goes, but they definitely work really well. They're very cohesive as a unit. So that's going to be, to me, one of the most important things to watch in that game when I'm up there Friday night.
Absolutely. Well, enough football talk. I know we got to start wrapping things up. And Ray, I don't know, is Ray falling asleep or something? I mean, we haven't heard him. We haven't seen him. I mean, is Ray still around?
We don't need Ray.
There it is.
I'm here. I'm here.
But just a couple. I know you just love listening to me and Jeff just banter about football. So, but no, a couple great things before we do get going. Number one, district soccer tomorrow, right here on Livestream STL. It's going to be Bishop DeBerg, the number 2 seed, taking on St. Pius, the number 1 seed. These two teams played earlier this year. Pius won 3-1. DeBerg rang 3 balls off the posts during that game. So, but Pius only had to play a little more than a half last night. DeBerg got pushed into overtime. So it's good. That game is going to be a lot about who's got the legs, who's got, who's ready to go. Because, looking at the bracket, whoever wins this game, honestly, will make it to the soccer park in a couple weeks to play in the state champion in the Final Four. Without any doubt, in my mind. I mean, they'll get the winner of either Brentwood or one of the PHL teams in the quarterfinal. But, Pius and DeBerg, I think, is just, a little bit above all of those other teams. So a lot of great things going there. We got Jefferson R7. We got volleyball starting down here in Cape tomorrow. Classes 3, 4, and 5 will play their semis tomorrow. And then the third place games in those classes will be tomorrow. And then classes 1 and 2, Jefferson R7, we'll see them on Friday. And their championship games will be on Saturday. And you can watch all that action just the way you can watch all the rest of the action here on Livestream STL, as we've partnered with Misha.tv. It is a charge, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to get great coverage of all the local teams, for the rest of the football, volleyball, soccer season. So, and then our game of the week on Friday night, which I will be watching you guys. I will not be joining in to do updates because I will be tied up with other duties down here in Cape. Yes. This is going to be a very good game. Grandview and Deschênes. Want to thank our great friend Paul Boschard up at Deschênes for letting us come up and hang out with them for a Friday night. They were great hosts for us last year when Deschênes played Jefferson R7 in that outstanding football game up there last year. So great to be heading back there. And then we'll be back at it next Wednesday night, and Jeff will be with us, and we'll have some of the coaches from the winning teams this week, and we'll kind of, kick around, getting everybody ready for district championship weekend next weekend.
Sounds great.
Can't wait, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing I'll just add real quick, as my dog is barking in the background, so apologize about that. But if you're interested, anybody out there interested in sponsoring the Jim Powers High School Sports Caravan, please get a hold of us here, livestreamstl@outlook.com, or you can give us a call, 314-852-4398. Gentlemen, it's been a fun night, and we'll do it again next week. We'll see who's won and moving on, and might even talk. Won't be long. We'll be starting to talk about some basketball here, guys.
Basketball? Did you say basketball?
I did. We're only a few weeks away from basketball starting.
Basketball practices started this week, and it's hard to believe, but everybody can play their first games November 20th. So, we're not that far off the mark here when we start talking about basketball, and then, that's when we're going to get a lot of our great friends, joining us on Wednesday nights and having a lot of fun. And once again, it's great that we're able to get the caravan back. It's great that we're able to do this. We got the technology to do it this way right now. We do have some things in the work to where we're going to, hopefully be live at some different places. So we're really excited about some partnerships that we're working on right now. And the only way Jeff will be able to come to those places is if he wears an Ohio State hat.
Oh, Jeff.
Well, Jim, it's been great work.
Nice knowing you is what he's trying to say, right?
I'll wear the Ohio State hat if I can wear this shirt. Right. Thanks for having me on, Jim. I appreciate it, seriously.
I have a feeling there's going to be either a milkshake bet or loser has to wear the winner's hat at a broadcast in December at some point. I got a feeling we may be working something out like that.
Uh-oh, it's already starting.
We may have to watch together and live stream it.
Ooh,
that would be.
There's
get
an
ready
idea.
to live stream. Watch the game together.
I will be at the Class 6 state championship game. They're kicking off at noon in Ann Arbor. We're kicking off at 1 o'clock in Faroe. I've already told everybody I don't want any updates. I don't want to know what's going on while the game is happening, because they may find me dangling off of a bungee cord outside the Faroe Field press box if Ohio State is losing. So there it is.
There you go. There you have it. All right, gentlemen, thanks so much. And it's great to have the high school sports caravan back up and running here. And again, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks so much for watching tonight's broadcast. And again, if you're interested in helping us with sponsorship, a lot of folks out there love what Jim Powers he does for the St. Louis area and beyond. So think about sponsoring with us here at Livestream STL for this particular show. For all of us here at Livestream STL, we're going to say so long. Have a great evening.